Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're bringing some seriously uncomfortable clarity to a situation that is playing out in boardrooms literally everywhere right now. We're talking about why your latest AI project just isn't showing a measurable return on investment. I'm honestly thrilled to walk you through this because it's a fascinating and entirely preventable pattern. The solution is actually surprisingly straightforward once you see where the breakdown happens, so we're going to look at exactly why that ROI isn't arriving, and much more importantly, how you can fix it from the ground up. Okay, to really understand the problem, I want you to picture this. You're sitting in a meeting, maybe 6 months post-launch on a major AI implementation. Somebody at the head of the table asks a very simple, very reasonable question. Is it working? Initially, people nod, someone mentions the tools being used daily, someone else chimes in with, yeah, the team seems happier. A third person adds that, well, hey, there haven't been any complaints. Now that all sounds incredibly positive, right? But suddenly, you realize you're defending a massive technology investment with pure vibes and anecdotal feedback instead of hard data. And then, it happens. The inevitable financial question drops. But what's the ROI? The room just goes completely silent, crickets. Nobody has a clean, precise answer. And honestly, here is the core thesis of our explainer today. That silence, it doesn't happen because the AI technology failed. Not at all. It happens because nobody defined what working actually meant before the project even started. Nobody established a clean way to answer that ROI question. It's not a technology problem. It's fundamentally a measurement problem. Now, the sheer scale of this issue across the business landscape is just staggering. According to industry research, a whopping 61% of enterprise AI projects are approved based on projected returns that are literally never formally measured post-launch. Just think about that for a second. The business case gets the green light on this promise of efficiency or cost savings, the budget is spent, the tool gets built, and then nothing is tracked. That follow-through on the financial promise just evaporates, simply because the conditions to track it were never put in place to begin with. Let's look at the actual fallout of that missing follow-through. I'm going to pause here for a second to let this unsettling truth really sink in. According to the 2025 MIT study on the Gen AI divide, 95% of organizations saw zero measurable return on their generative AI investments. Zero. But wait, the absolute crucial word here is measurable. The study concluded this wasn't because the AI tools failed to do their jobs, it was because the measurement infrastructure simply wasn't there to detect or capture the change. The results might have been there, sure, but they were entirely invisible. And the operational consequence of all that invisibility, well, it's pretty brutal. In 2025, the abandonment rate for AI projects hit 42%. That's more than double the prior year. Companies are just pulling the plug. And why? Again, in most cases, it wasn't the AI's fault. It was driven entirely by the absence of measurable outcomes. Without clean data, your next budget cycle just becomes a negotiation based on sentiment rather than evidence. And let me tell you, sentiment rarely secures ongoing funding. So how do we even get here? Well, look at how these initiatives usually kick off. AI projects almost always begin with a totally reasonable business case estimate. Things like, hey, this is going to save the team 10 hours a week, or this will remove the need to hire 2 additional staff, or maybe this will improve lead conversion by 15%. Those are valid, reasonable things to estimate. The catch is that very few businesses set up the actual data plumbing to track those specific claims. If you promise time saved, but you don't actually track time, you are forced to defend your investment with feelings, and feelings are not ROI. What it boils down to is that as we look across the industry, businesses are consistently repeating these 3 distinct measurement failures. It's absolutely a pattern problem, not a people problem. Failure 1, no baseline was established. Failure 2, the completely wrong thing was measured. And failure 3, measurement was deferred. These 3 missteps are exactly the things that make ROI impossible to prove 6 months down the line. Let's break each of these down a bit so you can see exactly how to avoid them in your own operations. First up, missing a baseline. Honestly, this one is absolutely crucial. A baseline simply means recording what the workflow looked like before the AI was introduced. What was the volume like? How much time did a task actually take? What was the error rate or the customer response time? Because if your business case says, we're going to save 10 hours, you have to ask, what exactly was the team spending those 10 hours on before? Was it measured then? Is it being measured now? Without establishing this historical data beforehand, you literally have nothing to compare your shiny new AI-assisted workflow against. Building right on top of that missing baseline is the second trap, measuring the wrong thing altogether. Specifically, businesses love to measure AI activity instead of true business impact. Activity metrics are things like, how many queries the AI handled or how many documents it processed. Sure, those are super easy to collect, but they do not answer the ROI question. You need outcome metrics: time saved, errors reduced, customer outcomes improved, cost avoided. Your activity could be off the charts, thousands of queries handled, while your actual business impact stays completely flat. Activity alone will never tell you if your business is performing better. And the third failure? Kicking the can down the road. I guarantee you have heard this exact quote in a project meeting. Oh, we'll measure it properly once it's bedded in. It sounds super pragmatic in the heat of a busy launch, right? Actually, scratch that. It's a fatal flaw for proving ROI. When you wait 6 months to figure out your measurement strategy, your crucial baseline data is just gone forever. You can't retroactively figure out how long tasks used to take. The environment has already changed, and your one big opportunity to prove a clear before and after difference has vanished. Okay, so how do we fix this whole shebang? Well, good AI measurement basically requires 4 foundational steps to be established before any implementation even begins. First, define what the workflow was doing before. Get that baseline. Second, set specific measurable outcomes, not just abstract efficiency, but real targets. Third, establish your data source, your measurement method, and how often you're going to review it. And fourth, assign a named person responsible for tracking this change. Don't just assign it to a general process. And the absolute best part here? None of this requires a complex data science team. It just requires good old-fashioned operational discipline. Now, navigating this exact discipline is why Omnisenti operates differently in this space. They actually partner with you to build this entire measurement architecture right into the implementation from day one. It is never an afterthought. They handle that baseline documentation, the specific outcome definition, the measurement architecture, and those crucial post-launch review cycles. Basically, they ensure that the infrastructure to prove your ROI is built way before the AI itself is even built. Getting this infrastructure in place beforehand is a total game changer. It is literally the difference between crossing your fingers and relying on subjective sentiment, like hoping the team seems happier, and having hard, commercially precise evidence. Evidence like being able to walk into a room and definitively state response time dropped 34%. The businesses out there that can actually prove AI ROI, they aren't the ones that just got lucky. They're the ones that decided in advance exactly what they were measuring, grabbed their baseline, and committed to reviewing the data. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final provocative thought to take straight back to your team. When you're evaluating your AI tools, the question is not simply, can we show that the AI is active? We already know that activity doesn't equal impact. The much better, much more critical question you absolutely must ask is this: can we actually show, with hard data, that the business is performing differently because of it? If you build the measurement in from the start, the answer to that will be a resounding yes. Thanks for exploring this with me today. And hey, here's to measuring what actually matters.